What's up YouTube? I'm David Warren and welcome back to this week's video. My channel is all about being a CRNA student and being a nurse practitioner. If that's content that interests you, consider subscribing. This week's video is very interesting because I'm going to talk to you about what to expect salary-wise as a CRNA, or how much money do CRNAs actually make. I've done these videos before for nurse practitioners because I'm a nurse practitioner, and most of my salary videos have either revolved around what I make personally in different roles that I've had, or kind of what you can expect as a nurse practitioner to make in different areas of the country. And I've never done what I'm going to do today with the CRNA salary video, and I'm excited to show you that. Today, I want to give you like actual empirical evidence of what you can expect to make as a CRNA. And I'm going to do that by jumping online and showing you actually what some of the posted salaries for CRNA jobs are in different areas of the country. But before we do that, I do want to explain some background to this and kind of how we're going to go about it. So before we talk about what CRNAs actually make, we need to understand that there are different areas or different capacities that CRNAs can work in. And so kind of trend-wise, if you're thinking like 30,000 foot big picture, so CRNAs are going to make more money in more rural areas, more areas where physician anesthesiologists don't want to be. That's where you're going to make more money more oftentimes than not. And in the metropolitan areas, so big hospitals, trauma centers, downtown areas, you're going to make good money as a CRNA, but it's not going to be as much as you would make in more rural areas, if that makes sense. And a lot of this is also going to depend on the practice environment that you have as a CRNA. So there are a few different practice environments that you can have. You can be under what we call the care team model, and that's where there's a physician anesthesiologist who supervises either CRNAs or anesthesiologist assistants, and the physician anesthesiologist will be the one directing the care, and the CRNA or the AA will be the one carrying out the anesthetic. And so in care team models, there are more people to pay, if you will. There's a physician to pay, there are multiple CRNAs to pay, so you're going to be making less money doing that because there are more people involved in that anesthetic, if that makes sense. And then on the flip side of that, there's independent practice. And this is the practice that you're going to get in more rural environments. And so if you're the only CRNA, say, in the hospital and you're covering a 24-hour shift, you're going to make more money doing that than you would if you were downtown in like a major trauma center where you're one of many anesthesia providers on call with a physician supervising you. And so the rural areas, you're more likely to be either one or just a few CRNAs at a time on call. And that's why you're going to be making more money. You're going to be more compensated because you're really the only one there at that time. And as an independent CRNA, you really are the only one. You're the only one responsible for your practice. It's much like when I would work in Alaska as a travel nurse practitioner. I was the only one on call at night sometimes, so I would be the only provider responsible for patients that came in after hours. And that's much like CRNAs who work in those rural environments. You may be on call as a CRNA in an independent setting, and you're the only anesthesia provider there. So you have to be ready and willing to deal with whatever happens to pop through the OR door that night, or whatever emergency happens in the hospital that night. So that's historically why anesthesia providers in rural areas are compensated a little bit more. Now, with that said, those are like big trends. Now, there are places you can work in the inner city in like a major metropolitan area where you might be doing your own cases, where it's not supervised, where physician anesthesiologists work there, but the physician anesthesiologists do their own cases and the CRNAs do their own cases, if that makes sense. Those places are not as common as the care team model in more of a metropolitan area, but they do exist. And so that's something to take into consideration as well. Typically, you're going to make more money if you have more authority and more responsibility in your role. So if you're not in a care team model, you're probably going to make a little bit more money than you would if you were being supervised by a physician anesthesiologist. And I will say this, that the supervision really is dependent upon the states. And so the states will set the precedent on whether they have opted out from Medicare. And this is really not the video to go into anesthesia billing, but kind of short and sweet to get to the point here. Medicare requires that a physician anesthesiologist do the billing, and in some states can opt out of that. So like Texas is not an opt-out state. They haven't opted out. So there has to be a physician anesthesiologist that does the billing. CRNAs can carry out the anesthetic, but the physician anesthesiologist must be involved in some way. Now, a state like Arizona or California, there is opt-out. The physician anesthesiologist does not have to do the billing. The billing can be done solely by a CRNA, which means you can work in an independent setting. So all of that is very state dependent. With that being said, we're gonna jump over to my computer screen and I'm gonna take you through what CRNA salary actually looks like in different parts of the country and in different job settings. So let's go over there. Okay, welcome over to my computer screen. So I've got a few sites pulled up here and I'm gonna go through those with you in just a second. We just talked about how some of the influences can affect CRNA pay, like whether you're under the care team model, whether you're independent, whether you're in a major metropolitan area, whether you are in a rural area. There's another area that really influences pay, and that is exactly what your classification is, whether you are 1099 or W-2. And I'm going to give you a brief overview of what those are. This is not going to be the video where I delve into all the intricacies of that, but basically a W-2 employee is where you are fully employed by a group, either by a hospital or by an anesthesia company. And the perks of being employed are you get your taxes taken out with every 2 weeks paycheck or every week paycheck, however you're paid, or every month, and you get full benefits. So insurance, health insurance, life insurance, disability insurance, and then like a retirement plan. That's the benefit of being W-2. And when you're not W-2, you're 1099, and that's basically where you're self-employed. You are under contract with an anesthesia group, and they don't take your taxes out. They don't give you benefits. You're responsible for quarterly taxes. You're responsible for all of that. However, the advantages to being 1099 are that you can take business expenses, and typically you're paid a higher wage because they're not taking your taxes out and they are not providing you benefits. So again, it really depends on your situation. For me, I personally like 1099 better because I am currently single. I'm not married. I don't have any kids. So I am like a tax target for the IRS. And with a 1099 job, I can take more business deductions than I could with W-2. So I really wanted to explain that before we jump into some of the salaries that we see here, because in some of the salaries that we see, you're going to see like 1099 and W-2, and I really wanted to clarify what that means. So first place we're going to jump to is Indeed. I'm going to type in CRNA here, and I want to talk about salary kind of across the nation, not just one particular area. So we're going to start by looking in California, and I really just want to show you like what some of the salaries are. And again, not every listing is going to give you salary, but some will. Okay, this is a locums job. Locums means travel. So think when you see locums CRNA or locums nurse practitioner, think travel. So you're making $142 an hour at this place doing locums. 13-week contract requires 1 year of experience, make up to $142 an hour. All right, that's not a full-time job. So typically in locums jobs, travel jobs, you're going to make more than you would in a full-time job. All right, here we go. Clinical management consultants. This is 185 to 263 a year. And you can see a bit of the description here. They're seeking a CRNA to join their anesthesia team. The CRNA will be asked to work independently as part of a multidisciplinary team. So again, we talked about that earlier, being independent versus care team. This is an independent CRNA. You're gonna be making more money doing that. Scroll down here so we can find another one. All right, part-time CRNA, anesthesia consultants, $200 an hour. They're looking for really anything. 1099 positions. So we talked about 1099 and W-2. $200 an hour for a 24-hour shift. 12 hours are negotiable. $4,800 per 24-hour shift. An average of 80 deliveries per month. So 2 to 3 anesthetics per day, 80 anesthetics per month. Independent CRNA position. There's no supervision from an anesthesiologist, but backup is available. So when you're looking through these positions, just know that there are some of those differences like we talked about here. 1099, independent, making $200 an hour. Let's see if we can find a fully employed position. That might be hard. All right, this is $500 to $1,400 a day part-time. CRNA in Los Angeles, outpatient surgical center, flexible days, per diem or part-time. So that's like a per diem. The pay's a little low there, but not too bad overall. We'll scroll down here. So look at this one. This is interesting. Okay, so they advertise as locum physician or CRNA. So 260 to 280 an hour. Must have full-time availability. I'm assuming this is probably going to be 1099 with that pay. It doesn't really tell us a whole lot about what you're going to be doing. It's an anesthesia group, full-time locum tenens. I would assume this is probably going to be hospital-based with that salary, 260 to 280 an hour. All right, let's see if we can find one more just for the heck of it. All right, look at this one. Wing anesthesia nursing management, 150 to 250 an hour. General outpatient cases. Looking for a CRNA to join our team. All right, so 150 to 250 an hour part-time. This one doesn't say whether it's W-2 or 1099. All right, so the lowest we've seen is about 150. So let's do a little bit of calculation here on my phone. We're going to say we're doing $150 an hour times 40 hours a week times 52. So $312,000 a year in California is about the lowest that I've seen. Again, that's going to depend on the area, all the things we talked about, but that's a good overview of the job market in California. Let's look in Texas. That's where I'm from. All right, Texas, here we go. San Antonio, orthopedic, 160 to 220, full-time. Well, they're looking for full-time and part-time. So this job doesn't say whether it's W-2 or 1099, but 160 to 220 is decent. Let's scroll down so we can find something else. Fort Hood, Texas, 296 to 311. That's pretty generous, I would say. Let's see if we can find something in like the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, so like a big city. We'll see what people are making in the big city. Not a whole lot of salaries being posted on the big city. Bear with me here. We'll see if we can find one. Oh, there's one right there. So progressive pain, 104 to 378. That's quite a swing. Okay, so that's contract per diem or PRN. So your pay is really going to depend on how much you work, obviously. Looking for PRN 1099 CRNAs to help out a growing practice, 8 hours. So probably 150,000 would be reasonable if you weren't working that much. Let's see here, 108. Oh, that's in California. Sorry. All right. So not a whole lot going on in Dallas-Fort Worth, but probably 150,000 would be reasonable if you're doing PRN. Let's jump back to California. I want to look at Los Angeles here. So we did a little bit of rural area. We saw some of those big salaries there. Let's look in Los Angeles and see what we've got. 500 to 1,400 a day, outpatient surgical center. All right, here we go. This is a suburb of Los Angeles, 200 an hour. 1099 doing OB anesthesia, 200 an hour for 24-hour shifts, 12 hours negotiable. I think we looked at this one earlier. This was maybe one of the ones we saw earlier. All right, well, we saw the wing anesthesia earlier. Here's one, Glendale. That's great. Independent CRNA wanted for outpatient surgery center, 175 an hour. So Glendale is a big suburb of Los Angeles, 175 an hour. That's good. That's good money right there. All right, let's look over on the East Coast. Let's check out New York. All right, New York, 210 to 250, 12 hours, no weekends, calls, holidays, or overnights. Elite New York hospitals, that's hospital-based. Let's see what else we have here. All right, that's actually not very much. $650 a day, full-time, part-time. Seeking CRNAs who can provide obstetric anesthesia to our care in a large OBGYN practice. Okay, $650. Here's $190 to $200. That's Brooklyn. Leading hospital affiliated with the anesthesiology group is seeking CRNAs to join their growing practice. Ambulatory surgery center, 1 to 2 supervising and attending. So this is something to point out here. They're supervising and attendings. They are willing to teach, but it is heavily supervised, it looks like. And so 190 to 200, that's why you're seeing probably a lower 190 versus some of these others that we saw that were more compensated to a higher degree, I would say. Let's look at this one, 134 to 220.
134. Oh, that's at the VA. Interesting. Okay, so that's actually the VA has to post their salaries. So that's actually a fair representation. 134 VA is going to be supervised as well. You're not going to be doing independent cases there. So 134,000 in New York being supervised is probably accurate. You're probably going to make a little bit less at the VA than you would at any other location as well. All right, now we're going to jump over to CRNA Locums. So I follow this page on Instagram. I am not being paid to advertise them, but I think they have really cool jobs. So I want to show you this. CRNA Locums, CRNALocumjobs.com. Follow their Instagram page. They always post about their jobs they have. You can't see all of them here. Their Instagram is filled with what jobs they have. But look at this here. These are travel CRNA jobs. This is what I did as a nurse practitioner. So in Ohio, $200 an hour for July and August start. You need OB and peds. These are 1099 positions, by the way. Just for following their Instagram page, they post all of this. 1099 positions. But $200 an hour for full-time hours is really good. Arkansas, 180 to 200. Missouri, 200. And they usually list the assignment link. So 3 to 6 month assignment. They have 5 different locations here in Arkansas. This is just a little snippet of the jobs that they provide. They have more on their Instagram page. And then I want you to take a look at Gasworks. Gasworks is really interesting. It helps get me through CRNA school because I get to come here and look and see how much CRNAs make. Not that money is everything, but it does play a big role. So let's just check out Texas again. So we'll search Texas. And this is interesting. These are the jobs that pop up. So it tells you if it's full-time, PRN, part-time, whatever it is. And it usually tells you if it's 1099 or W-2. So let's just take a look at this job here. In San Antonio, it's a dental center, so it's outpatient. 1099, $250 an hour, $1,000 minimum per day. And I assume what they're saying is you're getting paid for the cases that you do, not the time you're there. So if you work, 6 hours, you get 6 times 250, but you're going to make $1,000 minimum a day. So that's a job there in Texas. Let's see what this is. All right, here's one in Dallas. All right, we don't list the salary on this one. Yeah, I don't see a salary listed on that one. Okay, never mind. Let's scratch that. Let's see if we find one with a salary. Okay, here's one in, let's look at this DFW area one. Pain and spine physician. So this is most likely going to be an interventional pain group, and you're going to be doing sedation for pain procedures. W-2 or 1099. So $210 a year, $210,000. This is probably, this is a full-time job. Sign-on bonus, $10,000. Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 5. Yeah, IV anesthesia, IV sedation. $210,000 a year. So in Dallas, $210 a year working outpatient. Let's see, there was another. Oh, let's look at this Lubbock one. Lubbock is out in West Texas. So Texas Tech Health Science Center, that's the main teaching hospital there in Lubbock. All right, that's a good representation of that. Minimum income, $190,000, max $290,000. So as a new grad, you'd probably start as $190,000. This is a great one actually. So this is a level 1 trauma center, West Texas. It is probably going to be supervised, I would venture to say. CRNA friendly teaching environment, no limitations on the CRNA scope of practice. So they make it sound like you're not supervised, but you definitely are supervised. 180 an hour, roughly 190 to 290 a year. That's really not bad. That's a good job. It's W-2, so they take your taxes out. You get benefits. So yeah, that's a little bit about what CRNA salaries are looking like. And again, you can jump around to really any area. Let's just for grins go look at a rural area. Let's look at North Dakota. North Dakota is very rural. Not a lot of people want to go there. You can see that salaries really aren't that different compared to some of the areas. They don't post a salary there. Let's look at this one. $200 an hour. Yeah, $10.99. That's not bad. I would feel like if you're in North Dakota, you should probably make a little more than that. That's just my opinion. I don't list the pay on that one. Just to be complete, let's look over here at North Dakota on Indeed. Find jobs. All right, there's a great one right there. North Dakota, 270 a year. That's actually really good. Contracts, that's going to be 1099. Anytime you see contract, you think 1099. 26 weeks off per year. So that must be like a 2-week on, 2-week off gig. Ultimate outdoor paradise. I wouldn't say North Dakota is an ultimate outdoor paradise, but I guess you get the point. It's near Devil's Lake. I know where Devil's Lake is. So yeah, 270 a year for North Dakota. I do want to show you a job in Kansas that I saw, and that, let me see if it's still here. They were paying very big. They were paying like $360 a year. All right, I'm not seeing it here. It's not directly popping up. But again, you see, even in Kansas, some of these salaries, that's not that much actually. 77,000. That's probably going to be like a PRN or part-time job. So that's full-time, maybe not. Willing to accept PRN. That's probably where the 77,000 is coming in. They don't really give an hourly rate. But yeah, so you can see a little bit here about CRNA salary. That's kind of average. 150 to 300,000 a year is going to be about average, depending on. So if you're working full-time, 150 to 300 a year. If you're working PRN, obviously you're going to be making less money overall. You're going to be making more of an hourly wage, but you're not going to be bringing in $300,000 a year if you're working 1 day a week. So that's kind of where some of these lower numbers are coming from. So that's a little bit about CRNA salary. Comment below. Let me know what you think. If you're a CRNA and you're willing to share, comment below. Let me know what you make. I love doing these salary videos. It's really cool to get in here. And this is one of the only videos I've done where I actually get on the screen and show you empirically what some of these CRNA jobs are making. So cool things going on here. Comment below. Let me know what you think. And thanks for watching this video. I'll see you next time.